Well, good morning. Not sure what happened there, but welcome. As you can see, I've already started toning my canvas, and I had started my live session here, my painting demo, a little earlier, and got booted off the network. So I'm restarting from the point at which the session ended, which is me partially toning the canvas here. I'm leaving a good portion of the canvas here open. All right. I'm going to be painting a winter scene, some hills, ground plane covered in snow, some trees, sunlight within this quadrant here on the canvas, some shadows in the snow which have a blue tint from the trees coming down, offering some perspective, hopefully creating some three-dimensional kind of illusions. If you're just looking at this now, I mentioned earlier, not feeling particularly well today. Whole family recovered from COVID not too long ago, and I was feeling great yesterday, but toward the end of the day, I started feeling lousy. Not sure what's going on, but still gonna make the effort to get some painting in today. All right, we are gonna, we're gonna backtrack a little bit, and we're actually gonna tone the whole canvas. In this painting, as is the case in most snow scenes, the one of the unusual elements associated with these is this is one of the instances where nature provides some exceptions, in that in snow scenes, they're one of the instances where the sky doesn't necessarily need to be the lightest part of the scene. It's one of the rare times where that's possible. Typically it's the sky that's where the light is emanating from, that lights the whole scene, and it's the brightest spot. But when there's snow on the ground, there's some other instances where this could occur too, reflections in water and so on and so forth, but it's one of those rare instances where we see that happening. gonna have some lighter spots in the snow and some shadows. Oops. That's okay. I'm not going to be too precise here. We're just laying in some basic ideas. And I know sometimes we'll work real hard to do some precision drawing while we're doing this kind of reverse painting, but I'm not going to do it. Just getting the basic shapes in, the whole canvas covered as quickly as possible. That's really the goal here. And this can put some indication of where the lightest spot in the sky is, where the sun's creeping through the trees. It's actually going to be behind this set of trees right there. And now we'll go to town, and I think I might try and find amongst my mess here filbert, larger filbert shaped brush right there. Try and lay in, block in most of my major shapes using this. And it's going to be a fair amount of gray, particularly amongst the shapes in the background. Now this is a homemade gray that consists of just about every color I've used on my palette for the last 3 or 4 paintings. And I'm going to get a little bit of that in trees. I'm going to do this one standing upright. We're going to layer these trees. Okay. So there's going to be a couple different colors that we use. This is going to be a bigger, wider tree here that's kind of tilting off. And then yeah, we got this tree. This tree's in the background. And this tree comes a little bit closer to us here, a little bigger. All right, and then I'm gonna rough this up a little bit. And then there's gonna be some smaller trees come down. Not many, I don't want to overdo it. And the scene that I'm thinking of is much more complicated than what it is that we're gonna try to communicate here. Alright, 1, 2, 3, that's 7 mean trees. There's probably scene I'm thinking of is probably closer to 20. But there's a couple of areas. A lot of these are pine trees, so they drop their pine needles, and as a result, and also their tree canopy also keeps a lot of snow falling directly underneath them. But the pine needles generate heat, you know, as they degrade. All right, so we got some warmth in these shadows. We're going to bring some cool in with this gray. Shadows are going to tilt off to the left. As we move to the left, because the sun's over here. We're also going to widen as they get closer to us. All right, here we go. Kind of get a sense for what's going on. Whole bunch of rough scrumbles and stuff, as we do see some of the evergreen foliage kind of come through here. We'll work on these shapes that we see, but we basically have an idea of what the painting's going to look like. I'm going to weight my brush, and right on my palette I'm going to start mixing probably initially maybe some grayish blue for the sky. We'll get that in. So a mixture of ultramarine blue and white. I'll pull in some of that gray. A little more ultramarine blue. And what will happen is this will be hopefully kind of the mid, no, a little too blue. I want to come up with the grayish mid-tone for the sky, if I can. It's closer. What we'll do is we'll work it in so this will get more intensely blue as you go up, and cooler gray white as you work your way down. And then as you kind of see sky holes kind of peeking through the tree canopies and so on and so forth, it'll be less intense. And just scrubbing it in for now. I'll work in thin to thick. Start with nice thin paint. Gonna wipe my brush real quick, it's getting a little muddy. All right, let's use the whole brush here, the whole handle. I know sometimes it probably looks awkward. You know, I'm left-handed. It's always my excuse. always one that I used growing up in a household of right-handers. But I'm usually, especially when I'm doing these videos, it's because I'm kind of a newbie at this. I am often working around the camera. So if it looks awkward, that's probably part of the reason there. All right, good. I'm gonna work in more white, more gray, more of my homemade gray. And as I get down here, let's get that in there. And if there's some streaks right now in the sky that don't look right, that's fine. I'll fix that. All right. Yeah, I like that. I like the way that sky's looking. That's really what we're doing here. We're trying to create a sky that we could key to with the rest of the painting. As I get closer to where I'm going to create the indication of the sun, I'm going to incorporate a bit of a cooler grayish white. There we go. I'll incorporate that into other areas of the sky. Excellent. Okay, I like that. You can kind of see it come together. Now, I don't even think I need to clean my brush off, but I'm gonna wipe it a little bit just because I'm getting picking up a little bit of that underpainting. This is wet on wet. Alla Prima, one sitting. Try to get it done in about an hour. All right, I'm mixing up a gray. And I'm gonna start working that in. All around really the canvas. Trees are going to be the darkest plane or vertical plane against a low sun. So I want to avoid lighting them too much. All right, I'm gonna go in, grab some white, some blue, white and blue, and start laying in some indications of the lighter snow patterns. And we'll just keep working our way through this way. Using this large filbert. Of course, there's some snow up in the tree canopy here. Gonna be snow piled up against the base of the trees. All right. Put that brush down. Just take a step back and think for a minute. All right, so I'm going to work in. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a flat brush, long-haired flat brush, and start working some of the darker, kind of purpley browns into the trees, and might even use a fan brush, not to get too Bob Rossy here, but let's see. There we go. I like this a little bit. Let me get some of this purple and some of my burnt umber, and especially toward the bottoms of these trees. Start working on building their mass a little bit. A little blue in there, a little purple, a little burnt umber. And up top here, you're not going to see the whole tree because some of the foliage is going to obscure our view. All right. This is going to be, hopefully I can achieve some of the effect I'm going to be aiming for here. These trees that are going to be affected most intensely by the most highest intensity light will kind of gray out a little bit. Where the most intense light is coming through. Excuse me. And toward the base of the trees in the background, that's where the darkest shadows are going to exist. So I'm going to build up some indication of that using the same color. And we're going to get some of this color into the foliage too, the indication of some foliage. Not looking to cover too thoroughly here, but it's going to be warmer. We don't necessarily want that color in there. Okay. All right, I think we're in a good spot so far. back to my big filbert. Just gonna set that long-haired flat brush to the side. And we're gonna work in interesting mixture of ultramarine blue, dioxazine purple, and white, and try and nail the blue tint of the shadow in the snow a little bit. And we'll work in obviously there's going to be other shadows too, so we'll work that. These are going to be imperfect due to the mounding and blowing of the snow in different areas. And there'll be some in the background. Okay. We're going to create a couple of puddles of white, mainly one with a kind of a cooler off-white and a warmer off-white. We might do a third one. I'm going to wipe down this brush. I'm probably going to retire this larger filbert for now. And I might get a medium-sized round brush. Okay. And what I'm going to do is pull in some of this yellow, cad yellow. And we have an off-white puddle here, trying to avoid the blue because I don't want it to green. But I'm just going to see what this looks like. Okay, yeah, I like that. So we're going to drag that through selectively in areas where, you know, maybe that golden light from the sun is hitting the snow and creating that little tint. Not everywhere. We don't want to overdo it. And, you know, one of the things I read in Carlson's Guide to Landscape Painting that is kind of a seminal book, which is referred to by a lot of painters that I follow, that are informal mentors to me. You know, one of the things that stands out is he has this kind of notion about how important it is to focus on creating convex sort of structures when painting the earth, because the ground tends to mound. Those tend to be the formations that we see, that we take notice of. You know, he talks about how it's with a fair amount of rarity that we would tend to notice concave structures. So, you know, his suggestion is when painting, even if it's a bit of an exaggeration of what's going on, in reality, it just makes for a better painting if you focus on those kind of mounding convex sort of structures and try and indicate that with your brushstrokes, color selection, so on and so forth. And that makes sense to me. And I'll try to be mindful of that here. Gotta break this up a little bit. Some lines just a little too strong. Not going to see perfect indications of these shadows in reality. All right, now I'm going to wipe my brush and start putting in, after just a few more of these warmer strokes, some cooler strokes. Focus on that pool of white, much cooler. Particularly up here on this hill. Right, I'm going to pull a lot more of this blue here, because that is not picking up, because of the plane here of this little hill, and also the fact it's in the shadow of these trees. Not going to pick up a lot of sun, so it's going to be a little bluer, a little cooler, and I'll work that in. Couple of other areas. Oops, I don't want to kill. Definitely don't want to kill some of those warmer tones that I have going. Just want to just work in a little bit of this cooler tone. Take the opportunity to shape some of these shadows more accurately, kind of reflect perspective. And all right. Use the same round brush. I'm going to wipe it clean. I'm going to get some of this gray. I might need to squeeze out some sap green, but I'm going to try and use what I have here. Maybe I'll just mix up a little of my own. A little of my burnt umber, cad yellow, a little ultramarine blue. Let's see if I can get it. Yeah, I think I got it. Good. And just knock in some indication of this evergreen foliage. Also bring some of that into the grayed out foliage in the background here. Kind of meet up that to the sky. Definitely don't want a lot of intensity in that color. All right. Second day in a row where I feel like, I don't want to speak too soon, but it looks like this is coming together a little quicker than I thought, which is good. I always have plenty to do when it comes to chores here at home or work. All right. Let me pull in some burnt umber mixture here. Just darken this a little bit, especially up toward the right hand corner. All right. I'm also going to work on these trees. I do want to create a little more texture, a little more ruggedness. Don't want them to be these smooth, perfect looking sticks. That's just not how they are. It's okay if one or two of them kind of end up that way. When all of them end up that way, it just does not look or feel natural. I'll wipe my brush. And I'm going to use some of that shadow color. I'm going to dip into the diatazine purple and blend it in to that whitish blue color. I just want to warm up selective areas of these shadows, not extremely, just a little. Just mix in, you know, the whole broken brushstroke effect. Mix in some warmer indications. think we're close. I do want to get some thinner redraw that a little bit, kind of a grayish brown. I don't want this to be too, there we go, that's more like it. Excellent. All right. We're close to calling it. Just gonna play with the sun a little bit here and these trees closer to the sun. Smaller long-haired round brush. Use some of that warmer white here. Yeah, I think we're close to done. okay. All right, I think we're done. Probably scratch my little signature somewhere on there. I think we're, coming on right around 50 minutes, maybe closer to an hour. If you include, my initial attempts to to tone the canvas, before we had a little internet connection issue. But this is it, my little winter scene. Kind of depicting what the typical scene is off to the side on our driveway. Took a lot of liberties and poetic license, excluding some of my neighbors' houses. I do live in a, kind of a rural area that is suburban-like, but here in Stroudsburg. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. Hope to see you next time.